All right. So welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for coming. For those of you, if this is your third time coming in a row, you stuck it out. Today, we're going to talk about spirit babies because it's such a big part of what I do in terms of, helping people in their baby journey, helping them to get to the pregnancy part, to holding their babies. And so the reason why I emphasize that and focus on that so much is because since I work with women in their 40s primarily, pretty much exclusively, and as many of you have experienced, there's a lot of doubt and uncertainty about whether or not it's going to happen because of age, because of diagnosis, because it's been taking so long, because of the past history. There might have been losses. Sorry for my chronic cough. I apologize. And so there's a lot of doubt that, doesn't really occur in women in their 30s and younger. And so really the way that I've kind of stumbled on and realized that really helps keep women motivated and moving forward is to be able to connect with their baby, with their spirit baby before the baby is born, before they get pregnant. And so, and in the process, I've really, really come to love working with spirit babies. And it's just been such a pleasure to get to know all those different personalities, their likes and their preferences. And it's really kind of amazing that they already have them. So it's been such a joy to be on the journey with clients and just to really see the development of the relationship. And so, and then the connection with the spirit baby can be a very important tool in terms of really kind of getting guidance on the journey and just being able to be an indicator of how well the mother is doing in terms of preparing for pregnancy, on her journey. And so that's been super, super helpful. So what is a spirit baby? For those of you who have never heard of it or haven't experienced it or just don't know very much about it, spirit babies are the consciousness of your future baby. They are the soul of your baby. They may already be there even before you start to try to conceive because they're karmically tied to you. They might have had a relationship with you in another lifetime, maybe as a relative. You could have been siblings, you could have been parent, child, or grandparent, grandchild. It's any infinite number of combinations. You could have been friends, you could have been had a mentor-mentee relationship. So you had something that connected you in a different lifetime, and so you both agreed before you moved on that you wanted to continue the relationship in another. And so that might be that might be a situation for you where they're just already with you. And some people will say that they've felt their spirit babies ever since they were little kids, and this would be before they obviously consciously decide to want to have a child. And so then that's a very clear karmic relationship, a karmic connection. For other people, the spirit babies come in answer to having an intense desire for having a baby. So you're basically putting out a psychic call for a baby, saying that you want to get pregnant, and then a spirit baby who wants to come into the physical, into the 3D earthly plane, answers and says, I'm here, I'm going to step up, and I like this person, I like what I see, and I like the frequency of this person. And so I have chosen you, the potential mother, you as being my mother. And so here I am. And that can happen as well. The only way to find out is when during your connection, you're just asking directly. Sometimes they're very forthcoming in that information. Other times they're a little bit more hesitant to share, especially if you've had a connection before. They're actually quite reluctant to share about what happened in the previous lifetimes. And that's what I've noticed in working with clients. And so you'll have to kind of park that curiosity and just kind of leave it be. So spirit babies exist in a different dimension that 99.999% of us cannot perceive in the way that we carry out our daily lives normally. However, when you deliberately call out to them, they respond. Some at the first call, and for others, it takes more time because the woman has to develop the sensitivity to feel or see them in their mind's eye. It seems to be about 50-50 in terms of how quickly women connect with their spirit baby. So if you have tried to connect with your spirit baby and it hasn't happened very quickly, just be patient with it, continue with it, don't give up. They are there. I would say I would be 99% sure of that. You know, I was going to give the 1% room of error, and there might be an exception, but for the most part, in all of the women that I've worked with, there's always been a baby. And so I would comfortably say that you most likely have a spirit baby attached to you. Like I said before, spirit babies have a very distinct personality, like each human being. Each baby is different with their preferences, their likes, their dislikes, not so much dislikes, but their likes, desires, and and their purpose. Some of them have a very specific purpose in coming in. And it can be helpful to know that, because then you kind of can be prepared in terms of like what this child wants in order to really fulfill their desires, to fulfill that purpose. Having that information beforehand can be actually quite helpful. And so, when in working with my clients, their babies some of them have been very specific about their areas of interest. Some of them are activists, some of them are interested in working with nature, with the environment, and some of them are want to help people, want to be healers of some kind. So it's actually really cool to be able to even get to know that at this time. And so this way you can help guide them as they're getting older. Obviously still giving them room to grow, but having that in the back of your head that this may actually be something that will be an intense desire that they may actually want to pursue in the future. So getting to know them is really a lot of fun. Why would you connect with your spirit baby? First and foremost, it's to nurture a relationship with them so they feel wanted, they feel safe, they feel loved and secure. They chose you, so they want to get to know who you are. They want to be with you. They want to love you in a more connected way. And so, oftentimes on the journey, it can be wrought with, doubt and anxiety, and that kind of creates a little bit of friction. So when you connect with your baby, you can reassure them that they are wanted. But some of the feelings that you're going through, it's not in association with bringing them forward, but it's more about how you're going to get to that point. And so that can help to alleviate some of the resistance that they are actually feeling on their part, because the doubts and the impatience and the anxieties that you're feeling, it changes your frequency. And so that's how they perceive you. And so having that relationship with them, that connection with them, can really be very reassuring for them, right? Another reason why connecting with your spirit baby is super helpful is it creates this communication line with them to ask for guidance. And no, they can't tell you how they're going to be conceived, whether it's naturally, with IVF or donor eggs. That falls under your free will. You're the one who's going to have to choose. That's not in their domain. They can tell you what they need from you emotionally and spiritually, but they have nothing to do with the physical aspect yet. Okay. So I just want to be really clear about that. Don't ask them. Don't ask them about when they're going to be born. Don't ask them about how they're going to be born, because that's a very human perspective, and they're not going to have any answers because that's not where they are. They don't have a physical body to experience all that. So what I aim to do with my clients, and that's going to be part of the Call in My Spirit Baby, is program is to help clients really kind of have a very real experience with their baby, where it's like you experience your baby in the same amount of detail that you would in real life. And that's actually really, really possible. And many of my clients, if not all, most of them can reach that level of just like concreteness. One of my clients is 44 and came to me after 6 failed IVF cycles and a miscarriage. So as you can imagine, she wasn't feeling too hopeful by the time that she had reached me, but she didn't know what else she could do. And, what she learned about me, gave her some hope. So she reached out to me. In the beginning, when she tried to connect with her baby, nothing happened. And it stayed that way for a little while. And then over time, as I helped her out, giving her like little tips and guidance, she really started connecting with her baby. It was really minimal at first. And I really want to emphasize that for people who don't connect with their babies very quickly, or it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on. And then it gradually built up over time. It's basically like any other relationship. Nothing's really happening at first, and you're just starting to get to know each other, and then the connection deepens. And most spirit baby communications are like that. It's not often the baby will just kind of pop up and say, "Hey, I'm all in," and be chatterboxes. Most of them are not like that. They need to be welcomed and invited in, basically like a special guest that you bring into your home. So there needs to be initially a lot of care with just welcoming them and just making them feel comfortable. So this client's baby is now to the point where she's around all the time because she's so ready to come in. She pops right up when I'm on the call and ready for more time with her mom. And she's like just kind of almost fraught with impatience of like, when do I connect with my mom? And that's what it seems like every time that I'm doing a coaching call with her mom. And it's just really, it's just a really enjoyable experience, even for me, even though observing from the outside. So because this is all playing out in my client's mind, she's not making it up, because there's no way she can come up with the stuff that comes to her. And it just gets, and it's just an experience that she has. It's like she's in a movie and she's not making the movie up. So it's very real for her. She basically, what she's done is she's learned to tune her frequency to that of her spirit baby with extreme precision. And as a result, my client has done just a complete 180 of being scared of it being too late for her because of her age, because of her situation, and to now just being completely certain that she will get pregnant and she will have her baby. So she's no longer wrapped up about her age, or the IVF failures, or IVF failures. So for her, it's just a matter of time. And that's where I want you to be, because that's really when the magic happens. And at that point, age doesn't matter. How long it's taking doesn't matter, or how long it has taken doesn't matter. It's all of that recedes into the background, and it even drops away from your consciousness for prolonged periods of time where you just don't think about it, or it pops up and it just goes away immediately. And so that's really where I want people to move towards. Because your baby is pure energy and doesn't have the experience of a physical body, your age is of no relevance to them. It doesn't matter if you're 40, 45, 50, or 55. They don't understand age and time the way that we perceive it. So you can't ask them when they're coming. You can't ask them how they're going to be coming. They just don't know. It's not based on time. It's not based on the physical reality that we experience. It's based on frequency, because they're energy, and that's how energy is measured. That's how it's detected, is frequency. Age and time are human constructs. So linear time of the past, present, and future, they actually don't exist. There is only one moment, the present moment, the moment that we're in right now. All of creation is done. And spiritual teachers talk about this. Our human perceptions differ because our senses tell us otherwise. So a fish in the ocean has no idea of anything outside of their immediate surroundings, right? They don't know about us or the birds, the trees, the cars. They don't know anything that's on land, anything outside of their immediate environment. And it's the same way for us. So we perceive the things that are going around us based on our five senses, our ears, eyes, based on touch, smell. But anything beyond that, we just don't perceive. And our machines aren't sensitive yet enough to be able to see that. For the most part, aren't sensitive enough yet to perceive that. So, and this is how manifestation works, where you're learning how to tune into your frequency, to the frequency of your baby so precisely and so consistently that there's really no other option than for your baby to manifest into the physical, because it's just, that connection is just so strong that the baby just wants to come in and is so excited to come in. And it's just, and the mother my clients can feel that. And it's just, and it just, there's that certainty, that inevitability in them now. Many of them are in that situation where it's just, they're just waiting for the universal timing, the divine timing to kick in so that everything's a go. It's kind of, I use the analogy, it's kind of like they're like planes circling around the airport waiting for the air traffic controller to say it's time to land. They're kind of in that space where, they're in the very high frequency, really great peace of mind, very serene, very calm, constantly connecting with their spirit baby, and just and connecting with them so that they grow and develop their relationship. And and it's just, it's done. It's just a matter of time. So how do people experience their spirit baby? Everyone's going to be different in terms of how they experience them. So this is all done in meditation for the most part. And so for some people, they get so good at it, they don't really need to go into meditation to connect with their spirit baby. That takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of time. But to begin with, for sure, they do come in meditation. And so like with their eyes closed, they would be seeing, basically like being in this movie with their spirit baby, because everything's very detailed. It's like a movie playing out in their mind. And so those are people with really kind of really intense ability to visualize easily. So everything's like very visually clear. And then there are others who don't have, and that seems to be for the majority of people. Not everyone's going to be that way, though. Everyone's different in their levels of perception in terms of the visual aspect. Some people feel it more, where they feel the warmth of the baby, of the love of the baby coming in when the mother invites the baby to come in. And so they feel kind of this presence coming in. So it's much more amorphous. It's not very distinct. And so it can range anywhere in between. So whatever you experience is just accept it as what it is, and try not to question it, and just, welcome the baby. Just have a conversation with the baby. Even if you don't verbally hear a response, just have a conversation with the baby. You would do the same thing with a newborn. It's not like a newborn responds to you. You just talk with the baby, reassure them, and, and then the connection grows, and to the point where at some point you'll get it. Often most people get a good enough connection that there is some communication where it's just not like you just talking and there's no response. There is some sort of feedback. And so that's a really, when that happens, that's a really great turning point for people. So as I said earlier, they won't be able to tell you if they're coming naturally or by donor egg, because that's your decision, not theirs. It's your free will that's going to make that decision. If you do decide to move on to donor eggs, you should not feel any guilt on their behalf, like as if you're abandoning them. The physical body it's just a vehicle for the soul. When we die, we re-enter non-physical back to where the spirit babies are. So we're all from there. And so that's why some psychics can communicate with the dead, because they're tuning in their frequency to those souls which have already passed on. And those souls have a very specific frequency, like a radio station. And the psychics have an internal dial that they can dial into the dead. So you're just kind of basically doing the same thing, where you're just tuning into their frequency. But because we are just energy, the physical body, like I said, it's merely a vehicle. So just like when you change cars, you're still you, even if the car has changed. In the same way, the spirit baby's soul will remain the same, regardless if it's your biological eggs or it's donor eggs. And that's been my experience with clients, where the spirit babies remain the same when my clients decide to move on to donor eggs. And and that has been consistent. So I feel very comfortable in saying that the spirit baby soul doesn't change when you decide when and if you decide to change a course of action. So what makes your baby is the same, whether it's your eggs or donor eggs. And I know it's a little hard to believe, but again, that's been my experience. For my clients who move on to donor eggs, because they've already connected to their baby before the donor egg decision, the realization that the baby is still the same just makes it much easier to accept that they're using donor eggs. There's like no shifting at all in their communication. So there's no issue, the spirit baby feeling abandoned. The baby, I'm guessing, is going to be, I'm pretty certain, is still going to be there, whether or not you try naturally to use donor eggs. This question, this particular situation also relates to women who've had miscarriages or abortions, and their spirit babies don't hold any grudge either. The judgment doesn't come from the babies, but really rather from the mother and the guilt that she feels. So if you're feeling like your spirit baby has any issues about an abortion or a miscarriage or moving on to donor eggs, you're projecting your own feelings onto them. And because they don't feel that at all. So you're going to have to release that guilt, as it can really serve as a block to manifesting your baby. In the case of abortion, you have to forgive yourself and just accept that you made a very difficult decision given the circumstances, and then be able to move on from that. With miscarriages, it's the same thing. You also have to forgive yourself because it wasn't anything that you did that caused it. There are different factors that come into play for a successful pregnancy, and you cannot control all those aspects. The only thing that you can control is you. You have to be ready. You can help your partner be ready, but your partner has to be ready. You can help your baby to be ready, but your baby has to do the work to be ready. And then there's divine timing, which is really completely out of anyone's control. And so I really want, because a lot of women have experienced losses, I really want people to understand, women to understand that it's not anything that they did. Oftentimes the spirit baby is still there. Sometimes it can be, in the case of miscarriage, it can be that the baby kind of had a taste of coming into the physical, like it started getting real, and then they backed off and they decided that they didn't want to, and that's why the miscarriage happened. And I think a large percentage of, I don't know the numbers obviously, but I think a large percentage of miscarriages are actually due to that, is because the babies just really weren't ready to come into the physical. And if that was the case, then another baby would come in. As long as you have the intense desire to have a baby and you stay connected with that vision of growing your family, then another baby who is ready, because there are plenty of spirit babies who want to come in, lots and lots of them who wants to come in. So there's no shortage of them. One of them will rise up and step in if the previous baby decided to basically stay in the non-physical. So for the most part, most spirit babies are ready to come in. They just need a little bit of encouragement from the part of their mother in terms of knowing that they love them, that they're feeling safe and stuff like that. And that's why connecting with your spirit babies can be so helpful, in terms of it just changes the trajectory of your journey so much. And that's why I love working with spirit babies. And so it's such a privilege for me to, to be able to do that. So I think I've covered a lot about spirit babies. Are there any questions about them that you may have that I might have overlooked or didn't address? And then if there are, go ahead and enter that into the chat, please. Nothing so far. Okay. Let's see. So I want to keep these shorter. They were running along the last couple of days. So let's keep these a little bit shorter. I invite you all to join the Call In My Spirit Baby program. So you can also experience just the immense joy of getting to know your spirit baby. We start Tuesday, September 6th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's California time. All the live calls are recorded, so don't worry if you can't attend live. I'll alternate with Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. The investment is $8,888, $88.88. And I'm just really so super excited to see your transformation, either physically with a pregnancy or spiritually with just a huge major glow up of just a leveling up and just really moving you just tremendously forward on your baby journey. Payment links are provided in upcoming emails. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'm happy to answer them. If you need to, we'll jump on a call just to make sure you're a good fit for it. Having said that, I recommend that you don't ask me how it's going to be done. I really like what's going to be covered, what's the content. I really want you to learn how to trust me, to follow my lead and let me do that for you, because this is really about you being able to let go of how you're going to get pregnant. Your job is to stay focused on your baby. That is the only thing I want you to do, because as long as you stay focused on having your baby and you just hyper focused on that without letting the doubts and the fears and impatience get to you, that is when you move from hope to certainty to inevitability. And that's really where I want everyone to be at. And regardless of your age, it is possible in the 40s. And I will say that all day long. I don't care what your age is. I don't care what your medical condition is, what your AMH levels are, what your blood test levels are. If you really, really want the baby and you just stay locked in on that, all of that stuff can fall away. And a lot of my clients have low AMH. Most of them are in their mid 40s, some in their late 40s. And so, so it can be overcome. It can be a non-issue because it's as much of an issue as you make it to be. So your job is to stay focused on what you want, which is your baby, really being into getting into that feeling of it. And that's something that I'll help you to be able to stay really focused on, really locked into. And that's the only thing I want you to do, because everything I teach is just a tool to help you with that. And because that is the single most important thing. If you lose sight of it and you start wobbling, then the journey starts to fork off and you start kind of getting pulled off the path. And I just want to keep you on it so that you stay focused on the baby, stay focused on getting pregnant, and it can happen for you. Okay. So I really appreciate you all for listening and for joining me today. And so keep an eye out for the emails for masterclasses next week. And if there's anything else, please let me know. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions for those who are on with me live? Doesn't look like it. All right, great. So have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. All right, bye. You're welcome.